Hello everyone! Today we're going to talk about the most important part of your mock class, especially a low-level class. It's the most important part of any lesson you teach. Can you guess what it is? I'll give you a moment. What did you come up with? Is it TPR? Is it props? Is it your fantastic teaching background? What is the most important part of your mock class? The most important part of your mock class lesson is the lesson. The lesson is the most important part of your mock class or any class that you'll teach. Your performance is important, your smile is important, your props are great, your rewards are fantastic, but the lesson, can it go without saying that the lesson is the most important part? You may be asking, what is the lesson? The lesson is not the title. The lesson is not the topic. The lesson is the content. Does this little sheet look familiar to you? If it doesn't, stop the video, get it out, find it, and introduce yourself. This is your new best friend. This is the objective sheet for the lesson. In other words, it tells you what the lesson is. You have to know the objectives and target sentences in order to teach them. The objectives tell you the goals. Your goal is not just to be a fun teacher, although you should be a fun teacher. Your goal is not just to entertain the student, but hopefully you'll entertain the student. Your goals are listed here in black and white. What are they? Okay, pop quiz. You're preparing for your mock class. What are the objectives? What are the target sentences for your lesson? Do you know the target sentences? Yell out a target sentence right now. Did you say one? Was it correct? Check the sheet. You should know all the target sentences in your sleep. It's the most important part of the lesson. If you don't, then stop everything. Stop the prop gathering. Stop the decorating. And go get your sheet and become intimate with it. The target sentences are the lesson. They are the material you're teaching. And yet so many teachers tend to get caught up in everything but the target sentences. Mock class mentors are not going to like this. And guess what? They see a lot of potentially good teachers who are teaching fantastic lessons on something unfamiliar, something that doesn't resemble the objectives. Teachers might get sidetracked on a side topic, or teachers might teach a sentence pattern that kind of resembles the target sentence, but isn't the target sentence. Can I stress to you how important it is that you use the target sentences? It's super important. The target vocabulary and the target sentences. Ooh. You can also use the prior knowledge. You're not going to teach the prior knowledge because it's prior knowledge, but you are going to rely on prior knowledge to teach today's lesson. For example, you've got kind of a difficult slide that you need to teach. How are you going to teach this to the student? If you're like most teachers, you start thinking of ways that you can explain this slide to your student. What kinds of sentences will the student understand? Guess what? The sentences are already decided. You will use the prior knowledge to teach this slide. So your job is to find which ones of these sentences are going to be my friends when I teach this slide. I see here in the prior knowledge, noun starts with letter sound. Something like pig is the noun, starts with letter sound. Can I use that prior knowledge to teach this slide? Pig starts with p. Yes, I can use that sentence of prior knowledge to teach this slide. I should not be creating my own sentences or thinking of great ways to explain this. I can only use what the student knows and understands. The student's a beginner. How will I get the student to circle the odd one? You've identified what they start with. Maybe you can write the letters above them. And then what would you say? What sentence pattern would you use to get the student to circle the one that doesn't start with the same letter as the other ones? Believe it or not, I've heard teachers say something as complicated as, circle the one that starts with a different letter than the others. I'm not seeing that on here. In fact, the only thing I can see here that the student will understand is circle the. Genius! Circle the. Yes, you can use the prior knowledge to teach the slides and assume that you can't use anything outside of targets and prior knowledge to teach a low-level class. If you're preparing for a mock class right now and you can't tell me what the prior knowledge is, then you need to do a little bit of homework. I've made a little system that I think might help you. Here's how it works. Go through the prior knowledge, the target vocabulary, and the target sentences. Write down everything in your toolbox. Everything on this sheet is something you can use if you need to. I chose to write mine down on speech bubbles. I used blue for the student and yellow for the teacher. The manual exercise of writing these target sentences and these prior knowledge sentences is very helpful. I highly encourage you to do this. You don't have to use the speech bubbles. You can use different colored Post-it notes, or you can even cut up scraps of paper and write in a different color of pen. However you do it, let's write down on something small every sentence that you have at your disposal for your class. Okay, wow, that was a great exercise. Now we're going to apply it to the lesson. Slide by slide, look at the lesson and think about how you will teach it. You'll choose from your assortment of speech bubbles what to say about this slide. If it's not on a speech bubble, avoid using it to teach the slide. Which of our sentences can we use to teach an introduction slide? Maybe something like, hello, what's your name? It seems pretty straightforward once we think about it, but unfortunately it's very easy to complicate this. So let's go through the entire lesson and let's place our speech bubbles or our Post-it notes on top of every slide that you will teach. What will I use to teach this slide? How are you feeling? How you doing? What's up? How about, how are you? The sentence that I have at my disposal is, how are you? Every slide that you'll teach can be taught using the target sentences and the student's prior knowledge. Simple sentences like, what do you see? Which one starts with and circle the can make even the most difficult slides easy. Don't complicate it. Don't add to it. You've been given everything you need. Now, the most important part of this video is that you go and you do this manual homework, that you write these things down, and that you use this experience to sort the target sentences and the prior knowledge sentences onto the actual lesson. You can plan out your entire lesson this way. You don't need tons of other notes that have other sentences on them because you won't use them. After you get your speech bubbles or your Post-its all sorted out onto your PowerPoint slides, practice. Straying beyond the constraints of prior knowledge or target sentences should be minimal for a low-level class. Minimal. This will force you to use your modeling. Model to the student how to do the exercises. This is something super important that you're supposed to do anyway. And this exercise will really drive home the idea that your communication with a low-level student is based within a very small group of sentences and words and your own modeling. A small set of words and sentences, modeling. Those are your tools. It can actually be kind of freeing to throw out all the other ideas you had on how to explain the slides or what sentences you wanted to say to the student. You've already got them listed here, but you have to get familiar with them. Stop your preparation until you know the lesson. The lesson is the most important part of your class. You're doing great so far. High five. Goodbye. Examples used for this video may not be the target sentences for your class. Check the objectives. Check the objectives. Check the objectives.
Check the objectives.
Hey, one last thing. If you haven't signed up for VIPKID yet, please use my referral link. It's in the description.